Bought these surplus long johns off the internet, and they came with built-in suspenders, which I have somewhat mixed feelings about, but they seem like they'd be okay idea for this because you don't really have a very good elastic for the waistband, so otherwise they'll fall down. But I'm tall, and they weren't quite long enough for me, the suspenders. So I cut off the ends and sewed on these extensions. I'm going to do my second pair of these, but I do the extensions slightly differently. I'm going to show you how I'm planning on doing that. The pain in the neck part was getting this double layer folded in and sewed. Sewed one side and then turned it inside out and sewed along here. It was just a kind of a pain. So I'm going to try just sewing along the edges and then using a binding strip to sew to stop the edges from fraying. So let us continue. 1.5 inches wide. So let's cut these. It's not cut through my headphone cable. I'll go for 1.5 inches. Yeah, that's long enough to get 2 out of. Now I need some binding material. I forget how wide that's supposed to be. I think it's 1 inch. So there we have my 2 strips that are going to be the extensions, and these are going to be the binding for the outside. I didn't know these rotary cutter things existed, so there's probably other people who didn't. Just a razor blade that rolls along and cuts really well on these cutting mats. It's funny, like, there's all sorts of tools that, like, I'm sure lots of people know about these things. They're all over the place, but it's just something I had never used until a year or so ago. I saw one. I was like, oh, that's neat. And by golly, it's the way to cut fabric in a straight line, or just about anything. So let's go over to the sewing machine and get sewing. Probably should iron these or something, but ain't nobody got time for that. I have not had great luck using this binding foot before, but we will see how it goes this time. Let's see. actually yes, we're actually stitching this time. Yay! Let's trim those strings. Are we hitting the binding? Yep, we're hitting the binding. Sweet. There, so finally that worked. So I've got my binding sewed on one side, and do the other. Oh, I guess I was recording, didn't mean to. So I've got these both bound. One of the areas it missed a little bit, where is it? Along in here, and some on this side, so I'm going to re-stitch that. So I make the little points on the ends, just going to fold it. Stitch it. Turn it inside out. Oh, there's a point. I'm going to stitch across there, and we'll have our pointy end. Not exactly the neatest, but perfectly functional for for what I'm doing. So last time I folded them this way, or stitched them that way, then unfolded them. But I think this time I'm just gonna stitch them flat. Stitch them flat together like that. Probably works better if you put the presser foot down. Alright, well, I guess there's a reason why people invented real zigzag machines rather than this zigzag attachment thing. Oh, that zigzagger's a pain in the neck, but I know the buttonholer works fairly well, so on to buttonholes. Well, it's super ugly, but functional. The zigzag attachment worked like crap. I don't know if it's broken, worn out, or just would have never worked right from the factory. So I gotta cut those. But the buttonholer worked well. I'm gonna cut the buttonholes out. Try it with a button.
Equipment is important. Everything must be...
Alright, let's see if the buttons fit through the buttonholes. Yeah, perfect. There. So, longer straps, the connection part's really awful, or really ugly. It's not going to fall apart. Some extra strings, but yeah, overall that should work.